It gives me a great pleasure to be part of the e-learning process, which is being conducted by the Chamber of Tax Consultant for knowledge sharing. Now, real estate has been of very much importance to the government as well as the people of India. Why? Because it contributes almost, is the second largest contributor to the GDP after agriculture. So, first is agriculture, second is real estate. So, its importance cannot be undermined. Apart from, and again, it is the second largest contributor to the employment also. So, apart from the direct employment at the project site or at the infrastructure site, it also support nearly 250 other ancillary industry apart from this direct employment. And every year there is a need of home for nearly 10 lakh new homes are required in India because of nuclear family system and growing population. But since 2014, the real estate sector has been facing a huge recession, and then coupled with the demonetization factor, then impact of GST in 2017, and then introduction of RERA. But again, the introduction of RERA should not be looked upon in a negative way. In fact, it is a boosting factor for any real estate industry. So after independence, there was a gradual flow to the urban areas, and the need for housing sector was increasing. So again, once again, the Maharashtra has always been the pioneer in setting up the law relating to real estate, and accordingly, Maharashtra has enacted MOFA in 1963, that is Maharashtra Ownership Flat Act, then Maharashtra Ownership Act 1970. So Maharashtra has always been the pioneer. Even today also under RERA, there are 51,000 projects which are registered. Out of that, nearly 50%, that is 25,000 projects are being registered with MahaRERA. So there were no special law which can regulate the real estate industry. So prior to RERA, one can only relief in terms of either going to the civil court or the consumer forum, and both were the time consuming, because generally the average time taken civil court or consumer forum is around flow. Apart from Maharashtra, the Gujarat has also introduced GOFA, that is Gujarat Ownership Flat Act, which was just a copy paste of the Maharashtra law.
Sir, your
Apart
voice
from
is
that,
breaking.
across the India, there were no direct. So there were no special law which can govern the real estate, particularly the under construction property. Apart from Indian Contract Act and Transfer of Property Act, across India there were no such law. So then central government in 2013 thought that there should be a central law which can govern the entire country, and they introduced RERA bill in 2013. But then once again Maharashtra government in 2014 they came out with one state level RERA Act, which was known as Maharashtra Housing Regulation Development Act 2014, which was notified in 2016. But when the RERA bill was enacted in 2016, 1st May 2016, by virtue of Section 92, this Maharashtra Housing Regulation Development Act was repealed. And now we only have the central law, that is RERA 2016, which was implemented from 1st May 2017. So we are on the verge of completing 3 years after 2017, and there are lot many judicial pronouncements which has changed the various terminologies which we used to understand prior to RERA or under MOFA regime. So we'll go through all these terminologies. Now, the law is evolving very fast. So today, what I talk may not be correct day after tomorrow. But luckily, in this last 15 to 20 days, there are no much of judicial pronouncement, except one which came not for RERA but for moratorium period, that is by Delhi High Court on 6th April. That was also by way of video conferencing. So there are no much judicial pronouncement. But one should not go by the headlines of the newspaper, because this headline there does not contain the real facts and the relief sort of any particular judgment. So whenever one want to apply any judgment, one has to go through all this judgment very carefully, what relief were sought, and what discussion was there and what was argued and what are the pleadings and all these things. Now, before we go to understand various terminology, let us understand how the RERA judicial hierarchy will operate. Now, there would be an aggrieved person. Now, this aggrieved person generally are allottee, promoter, or real estate agent. These three can be the aggrieved person. Apart from that, there are some special category also which has been added after the various judicial pronouncement. For example, financial institution, the bank which has given a housing loan to the allottee, that can also be an aggrieved person. Then secured creditor, like bank has a mortgage in case of stall project, they are also one of the aggrieved person. So accordingly, the aggrieved person may change. Then association of allottee. Apart from allottee, there could be one association which can also be aggrieved by conduct of any of the person. So here, generally the complaints are filed by the allottee against the promoter, by the promoter against the allottee, by the broker against promoter, and so on. So these are the aggrieved person. Then once the person is aggrieved, then it can approach the RERA authority for resolution of that his grievances. But for that, he must have some cause of action. Now, what do you mean by cause of action? He should be aggrieved by some conduct of the promoter. For example, there is a delay in possession, and that delay is continuing. Then there are some checks which are given by the promoter upon cancellation, but the checks are bounced. So that is called a cause of action. So that cause of action should persist, and one can go to the RERA authority. Once the complaint is filed before RERA authority, now here RERA authority, composition of RERA authority is like this. There are 3 members. Out of, now generally these 3 members, they are not from judicial background, because RERA authority as such is a quasi judicial authority. So they are not from the judicial background. So prior to RERA, the complaints or suits which are filed for real estate issue, say for example, which involve the magnitude of 5 crore or 10 crore, that were looked upon by a judicial person of either civil court or consumer forum. But now under RERA, with this authority, these are being looked upon by the non-judicial person. So at present, MahaRERA has 3 members. Out of that, 2 members are non-judicial and 1 is judicial. There is no such compulsion that 1 judicial member should be there. And there now MahaRERA authority has appointed 1 adjudication officer. Now this adjudication officer is a judicial person. Now what is the difference between member and adjudication officer? So any complaint which does not involve any claim of compensation, then the matter goes to the member. Whereas if the compensation is to be adjured, then that matter will go to the adjudication officer having a judicial background. Then after hearing process with the authority, because authority will then take all the pleading and argument and then will give his judgment. So then after the communication of judgment within 60 days, then if any person is still aggrieved, then he can travel to RERA tribunal. Now RERA tribunal, when the act was enacted in 2000, was implemented from 1st May 17, at that point of time there was no RERA tribunal. The central government has directed all the state government to frame the rules, to appoint the authority, to appoint the tribunal. So, but then the 1 year time was given to each and every state. But Maharashtra has not been able to set up the tribunal. The tribunal was set up in November 2018. So after 1st May 17, almost for 1.5 years, there was no RERA tribunal. After 6 months or so, this RERA the task was assigned to MRT, that is Maharashtra Revenue Tribunal, for the temporary period, having 1 judge. Whereas the composition of RERA tribunal is very crucial. It says there has to be a 3 member, and every bench of RERA tribunal should consist of 2 members, 1 judicial and 1 non-judicial. So what has happened, after various judgments which are delivered by the Maharashtra Revenue Tribunal, Lordship Mr. Chandiwal, he delivered various judgments because that was a single member bench, and thereafter RERA took up the charge from the MRT, and various judgments were given by single member bench of this MahaRERA tribunal. So all these judgments which are given by a single member bench were held to be void ab initio, because section 43(3) of the act very clearly says that RERA tribunal bench must have two persons, one is judicial and one is non-judicial. So recently some 2-3 orders were challenged before Mumbai High Court, and High Court has again directed RERA tribunal to re-hear the case with appropriate bench. So one should, while referring to various case law, one should also look upon whether that judgment is given by a single member or a joint member. Then after RERA tribunal, if still somebody is aggrieved, then within 60 days of communication of order, second appeal can be filed before the High Court. At present, there are many matters which has travelled up to High Court, and then there is a Supreme Court. So, but today, as of today, I am not conversant with any fact whether any matter has reached to Supreme Court. But yes, with High Court, at various High Court, many matter has travelled up to High Court. So the intention of the establishment of RERA was to lower the burden of the current judiciary system, that is civil court and consumer forum. So with this background, now we go for understanding the various terminology. Now RERA versus other proceeding. Now RERA is a special act. Section 89 of the act says that it shall have, notwithstanding anything contained in any other law, it shall have the overriding effect. So RERA is a special law. Now there are various special law, like for insolvency, NCLT is there. For secured creditor, SURFACE is there. So these are all, consumer forum is also there for various kind of grievances, Securitization Act. Arbitration proceeding is there. And once again, MOFA is also there. See, interestingly, MOFA is not yet repealed. So we were to understand that MOFA will be repealed once the RERA is introduced. But in Maharashtra, MOFA is still a valid law. Two competent person can surely enter into an agreement for sale even under MOFA. But the problem is, if anything is inconsistent with RERA, then the provision of RERA will prevail. So MOFA is a valid law as of today also, and many developers are facing the difficulty of criminal action under MOFA for various default, because police authority have right to lodge a criminal complaint against a developer if some of the default are committed by the developer. So MOFA is still a good law. Now the issue came in 2016 when RERA was introduced, and many developers were have given the representation to the central government that RERA should not be made applicable to the ongoing project, because there are some past obligation, past contract. So RERA should be applicable to the new project only, which are which got the approval after a particular date. But then central government made ongoing project also, RERA was made applicable by virtue of section 3. So under section 3, one exemption was given to the project which has received the completion certificate as of 30th April 2017. That is before 1st May 17. So all other projects were required to get themselves registered under RERA within 90 days, that is by 31st July. So various developers all across the country, they preferred a writ petition with Supreme Court, and this was led by Nilkamal Realtor in writ petition number 2737. So Supreme Court received all this writ petition, and then they assigned this task to the High Court Mumbai. They consolidated all this writ petition, and then task was assigned to the High Court Mumbai for hearing. Now there were some challenges to RERA, whether RERA is a constitutional, whether RERA can apply to the ongoing project, whether RERA can apply to the past transaction. So Article 14(1)(g), Article 19, all that were challenged under that writ petition. So there was a challenge to section 3, whether RERA is a retrospective or what. So then High Court Mumbai has held that RERA is not retrospective. Now what do you mean by retrospective? Retrospective means looking at the past, means applying a current law to the right from the beginning. Whereas the new terminology, that is retroactive. Now this retroactive is defined under British law. Now retroactivity is an ambiguous term. There can be two kind of retroactiveness. One is true retroactivity, means the current law can be made applicable to all the transactions, whether completed, concluded, or pending. Whereas quasi retroactivity means it applies only to the pending transaction, provided cause of action is there. So RERA, it was held that RERA has the jurisdiction over the past transaction. RERA is not retrospective, but RERA is a retroactive, that is quasi retroactive. But again, while dealing with that judgment, Mumbai High Court has mentioned that legislation has power to enact a law which from retrospective effect in the larger public interest. Now we will deal with this terminology larger. What is larger public interest? In the case of Amrapali group of companies, we'll deal with that this larger public interest in detail. Retrospective, retroactive, I have already explained. Now there was again, so section 3 and section 4. Now again in section 4, the developer challenged that we are required to deposit 70% of the amount mobilized in a separate account, again for the past obligation. So here the act is very clear. Developer has to bring back the money which he has mobilized, at least 70%. For I will explain by way of an example. For example, developer in an ongoing project has collected say 100 crore. So he was required to give account of 70 crore. Now out of that 70 crore, he has already spent 50 crore on the project. So balance 20 crore either should be lying in his bank account or he has to bring back that money. This is what was the intention of the Central Act. But Gujarat and Maharashtra has diluted this particular aspect by providing in rules that 70% of amount to be realized from the allotee. So this factor has been diluted. So even if in case of a negative figure, the promoter is not called upon to bring back all this money because the real estate sector was facing a huge recession. So there is a dilution to this extent in the interest of real estate. Then section 6 was also challenged, saying that it is a very harsh provision. Now what is section 6? It talks of the extension of the project. When RERA came on 1st May 2017, the ongoing projects were given chance to revise that timeline. For example, they have given the timeline of say 31st December 2016 to various customers, but the project is still incomplete. So they can give the revised timeline, say 31st December 2021, again subject to reasonableness of the current status and the balance work to be completed. So that rule is there. You can't give any date like 31st December 2040, 50. You can't give. It has to be a reasonable, and there are many judgments wherein the revised timeline is also preponed by the authority. So section 6 was providing if in case there is a force majeure. Now what is force majeure? That is act of God, war, natural calamities like this COVID, what we are facing right now. So these are all force majeure. It has been defined under RERA. Force majeure has been very clearly defined. So in case of force majeure, if there are these force majeures are there, then even project can get extension of not only 1 year but 5 year, 10 year, whatever be the force majeure period. But here again, force majeure does not include the restrictive order of Mumbai High Court or any other court, notice and all these things. So this was not included in force majeure. So they said these are the very harsh provision. Only natural calamity, earthquake, war, and all these are included. So then there is a proviso to section 6 which says that authority can give 1 year extension looking at this. So now this only 1 year extension may not suffice in some of the cases. So then this was challenged before in that writ petition. So here the Bombay High Court observed that whenever a legislation enact a law, it makes a sufficient space or provision for that whenever the such harsh provisions are introduced. So they looked into the section 7.3. Section 7.3 of the Act, where authority can go beyond section 6 and looking at the fact of the each case, they can give the extension of more than 1 year also, but it all depends on the fact of the each case. But what MHARERA has done is they have issued one circular saying that if you can bring the approval from 2/3 of the allottee to whom you have sold the apartment, then we are ready to give you extension for not only for 3 years, 4 years, 5 years, whatever association of allottee says, we are ready to give you the approval. So this was the circular issued by the Maharera. So then Mumbai High Court again held that Section 6 is also constitutional and there is no need to change the law. Now, as regards qualification of judicial member of the tribunal, Section 46, it talks about that judicial member can be secretary of, say, Home Ministry or like that, IAS officer. So here, Mumbai High Court has struck down that particular provision, and it says no, judicial person means you must have a judicial background, any retired judge of any court. So this has been reset. And there was a challenge to Section 18. Now, what is Section 18? Now, when we talk of what are the relief, when we talk of an aggrieved person, what relief we can sought from promoter or vice versa. So, Section 18 talks of two scenario. Whenever there is a delay in possession. Now, again, this delay in possession has to be looked upon not from the revised timeline, which is given by the RERA while registering the project, but the timeline which was mentioned in the agreement for sale or allotment letter or so and so. So whenever there is a delay in possession, so then there are two options available to the allottee. One is either he can exit the project. In that scenario, he can claim principal plus interest plus compensation. But if suppose he decide not to exit from the project, then he will be entitled to interest for the delayed period of possession. For example, the possession agreed was 31st December 17. So in case he want to exit, he will get entire money with interest and compensation. But if he want to remain in the project, then after 1st January 17, 1st January 18, the developer will have to pay the interest. So these are the relief available under Section 18. So then under MOFA, the provision were like this. Okay, there is only one relief available. That is, he has to exit. So there was no provision for interest for delayed possession. So again, this matter was challenged. Okay, in MOFA only exit is there. Here both these facts are there. So in many of the tribunal judgment and authority judgment, it has been decided that RERA came into picture from 1st May 17. So interest for delayed possession will be available after 1st May 2017. But there are some contradictory judgment. Recently, there is one judgment which says even for earlier period, interest is payable. So there was a challenge to Section 18 whether this is a very harsh provision and it's a retroactive. But then court declined the claim of the petitioner and said that under MOFA also it is compensatory in nature. It is not a penalty, it's a compensation. So this provision was also held to be constitutional. Now Section 8. Now Section 7 provides for revocation of project. In case of various default of the promoter, the project can be revoked. The registration of project can be revoked. And under Section 18, then RERA authority will hand over this project to either association of allottee or some other developer, as the case may be. So then promoter said, okay, we have already pumped so much of money. So what will happen to our rights? Then High Court Mumbai pronounced that the right of the promoter will remain. Authority will have to prepare a blueprint. Accordingly, the Section 8 will be operative. Now, requirement to deposit the. This was to ensure the timely completion of project and there is no diversion of the fund. And we chartered accountant are required to issue Form 3, that is quarterly certificate, and Form 5, that is annual audit report. So now the issue comes, now this separate account operations are provided under Section 4, and while registering the project, the promoter has to issue one declaration, affidavit cum declaration, stating that he will comply with all the provision of the separate account. He will deposit the 70% of the money in the separate account and so on. He will not divert the fund and so on. So he will use the money only for the project. Now the question comes, in this recessionary period, there may be a circumstances where revenue authority like income tax or GST or any PF authority, can they attach this separate account? This is the question which comes to many people's mind, and there has been instances where these accounts are also attached. Now, as such, these restrictions are placed on the developer, not on the revenue authority. So, looking at the provision of the law, the revenue authority can very well attach all these accounts. They can even take away the money. But looking at the concept of larger public interest, one can definitely challenge this before the higher forum, and revenue authority will be called upon to redeposit the money. This is my view. Okay, looking at the law, because RERA is a special law, and this separate account provision is to ensure the timely completion of project and there is no diversion of fund. So attaching the bank account of promoter for paying his income tax or indirect tax liability will amount to diversion of fund, and there is a larger public interest involved. Then again, there was a challenge by the developer. Okay, we are subject to various penalties. So if there are delay in possession, then what will happen? Then the court pronounced that penalty provisions are always prospective. So if any default are committed after 1st May 2017, for example, if project is advertised without mentioning the registration number after 1st May 17, then penalty will be leviable. And there is one instance of Piramal housing reality. Now, in that case, what has happened? There was an advertisement in Times of India. It was a two-page advertisement. On the very first page, there was only one symbol. Some flowers were there. And on the second page, entire details were provided, including the registration number of the RERA. So on the first page, only Piramal logo and some symbols were there. So this matter, when it came before the Maharera authority, they levied penalty of 50 lakh rupees on Piramal housing. And unfortunately, they never challenged this order, because on the very second page, all the details which were required were mentioned. But this was not challenged for the reason best known to them. And they paid the penalty of 50 lakh rupees. As I said, a non-judicial person is dealing with all these grievances and complaints. So this kind of scenario may come where you may not have a fair order, because this case was not fit for penalty. They have argued everything. This is a continuous advertisement of 2 pages, but then nothing doing. They said no penalty, and that too 50 lakh rupees. It was a very huge sum. Now, after introduction of RERA, various terminologies have undergone a sea change. What we used to understand prior to RERA, because there were judicial pronouncement under civil code, but we all professional now with this introduction of RERA, there are almost 10,000 complaints filed before RERA authority, of which they have disposed of 8,000 complaints. And again, with tribunal, there are some 2,000 appeals are filed. Out of that, they have disposed of some 300 or 400 appeals, and some matters have traveled to High Court also. So there are series of judicial pronouncement, and various terminologies have been tested. When the Act was introduced, it contains only 92 sections. So I thought it's a good act to make a specialization. The little effort would be required since the sections are only 92. But believe, each and every sentence, each and every word has been tested. For example, section 18, section 12. So each and every word, each and every line has been tested while dealing with the judicial pronouncement. Now, memorandum of understanding. See what used to happen. Many people, to avoid stamp duty, impact of GST and or indirect tax, they used to enter into a memorandum of understanding, and then there are some cancellation also, and then the flat is ultimately sold to someone else, and they take away their profit. This transaction was done under a good faith. Now our belief was that this memorandum of understanding is just a piece of paper. It does not have any enforceable value. But it is not like that. There was one matter which came before RERA authority. So RERA authority, as I said, being a non-judicial background, they rejected the claim of the allottee. They said that since it is a memorandum of understanding, it has the effect of a loan transaction. So RERA will not have jurisdiction on the loan transaction. Naturally, RERA cannot have jurisdiction on loan transaction. Civil courts are competent. So when the matter traveled to tribunal, so what are the facts of this case? In the case of Bhavin Gala versus Omsai Infra, the matter came before the tribunal. So initially there was a registered agreement for sale. Then later on, after some time, the allottee entered into MOU with the developer and converted this purchase sale transaction into a loan transaction with interest factor and all these things. And as and when the progress was done, now the allotee realized that they are not able to recover the interest also, principal also. So they wanted to again go back to the agreement for sale. So they requested the developer and they made some payment also. Initially, they have made 70% payment. So some 10% payment they made later on, and for which builder has issued demand notice and receipt also. So now the matter is before tribunal. There are three phases. Phase one was a registered agreement having a purchase sale relationship. Phase two was a MOU having a financial transaction, that is lending. And phase three again transaction of purchase sale. So then the developer challenge argued that this transaction is by the financer and not by the allotee. This is a loan transaction and RERA does not have jurisdiction. This was the issue before the tribunal. Then tribunal noted that on the date of filing the complaint before authority itself, this transaction was reconverted into purchase sale transaction. Now, what is memorandum of understanding means agreement to agree at future date. So if the MOU is acted upon by either of the party, so here MOU was acted by the allotee, he has paid the money and developer has accepted the money, he has issued the receipt also. So MOU was acted upon. So this MOU which are acted upon becomes an enforceable document, and tribunal held that this is nothing but a purchase sale transaction and allotee was entitled for relief, and the relief was granted under this MOU also. Now comes the second terminology, that is allotment letter. Now many time again the allotment letter are issued and there are no agreement in spite of the fact that more than 20% was collected. Under MOFA the provision was 20. If you collect 20%, then you have to enter into agreement. Now RERA talks of 10%. So under MOFA, even if 50% were collected, but still allotment letter are issued. And initially the authority, MARERA authority, when the matter came before MARERA authority, they were reluctant to give relief under section 18 for the allotment letter, saying that because section 18 is very clear, if there is a delay in possession in accordance with the terms of agreement for sale. So the word used is terms of agreement for sale. So MARERA authority initially uh, uh, were not granting any relief in case a person is holding allotment letter. They were rather giving the direction you execute the agreement. So when the matter was before the tribunal in the case of Manjit Singh Dhariwal versus JVPD and in the matter of Ashish Pubna, tribunal noted that what is an agreement. They referred various definition of agreement. So they came to conclusion that agreement is nothing but matching of two-person mind. It can be a disagreement. Even disagreement is also an agreement. Agreement can be oral, it can be written also. So then they compared the terms of allotment letter with agreement, and they concluded that when the allotment letter contains each and every phrase of the agreement, say for example, consideration, flat number, date of possession, interest factor, amenities, and so on. So it is nothing but an agreement. So at tribunal under this judgment, now the reliefs are granted even for allotment letter. So now the MARERA authority also are granting relief for allotment letter. Now larger public interest. Now what do you mean by larger public interest? Now this RERA Act, the preamble itself is very clear. It has came into existence only to protect the interest of consumer. It's a special legislation. So when the in the matter of Amrapali group of companies, Supreme Court in 2019 pronounced judgment in favor of the allottees. Here, what has happened? The Amrapali group of companies by some 25 companies, they have been allotted lease by the Noida authority. Various leases have been allotted. There were around 42,000 flats, of which 20,000 flats were duly constructed, but they have not been issued completion certificate because developer has not paid lease rent to the Noida authority, and balance 22,000 flats were under construction. So here, when the Noida authority was asked why you are not issuing the completion certificate, they said that our lease rent are pending. How can we issue completion certificate. Now these 20,000 flats were duly occupied by all the purchaser. So then Supreme Court observed that Noida authority has been giving this lease consistently even after the default committed by the developer, Amrapali group of companies. Say for example, after 5 lease, when there are default in say all these 5 lease, again some 3-4 lease are given. So they noted that you have not acted in a public interest because you now cannot take the benefit of your own misdeed. So they held that nothing doing, you issue the completion certificate for this 20,000 flat purchaser and also issue the other approval for balance construction because you have defaulted in performing your duty. So this was held for Noida authority. Similarly, there were many bankers. There was a consortium finance. So many bankers also objected before Supreme Court saying that we have the encumbrance over project. So unless our debts are paid, how the possession can be granted, how a lawful possession can be granted. So then Supreme Court has, in this, there were so many malpractices were been done. Nearly 150 other companies were floated for diversion of fund. Even the forensic auditor were also appointed and they gave their detailed report establishing various facts that there is a diversion of fund. Even banker knew that they allowed this diversion of fund. So then Supreme Court in that also held that a banker has failed to do a banking business. What is a banking business? They have to look at the end use of the money and so on. They have allowed the diversion of fund. So again, you cannot take benefit of your own misdeed. So looking at the larger public interest and making deviation, because this judgment was pronounced in 2019 when the RERA was there. So RERA section 15 very clearly secure the secured creditor. But again, making a deviation in the larger public interest, Supreme Court held that neither Noida authority nor banker will have right over the project. The association can deposit money in a special account which will be monitored by the court receiver and the project will get completed. Now, in RERA, the terminology used is allottee and not the purchaser or consumer. So what is the difference between allottee, consumer and purchaser? So if we look at the definition of allottee, it says when if any person has been allotted or has been sold or otherwise transferred flat, apartment or building by the promoter. So this is the definition part. So there has to be a two-person. One is a person who has been either allotted, who has either been sold or otherwise transferred the flat by the promoter. So these two persons are different. So the allottee definition is much wider than consumer. Now what is consumer? Now here allottee can also include investor. Whereas for a consumer, investors cannot be a consumer. So if the matter goes before a consumer forum, if so for example any investor has purchased say 10 flat and it can be established that he is an investor before a consumer forum, then consumer forum will have dismissed many cases stating that he is not a consumer and this is not the proper jurisdiction. So in many cases, in PIL developer versus SR SA, it has been held that even investor are allotted. Once the flat is allotted or earmarked, then allottee is a wider term. Even investor will have a relief under RERA. For example, if a partner retires from a real estate partnership firm and his dues are paid in terms of allotment of flat. Now there are some judgment where even this has been challenged. So there also RERA has held that once the allotment is done, now this transaction is a purchase sale transaction, it's a allottee transaction and not a release of partnership transaction. So there also it has been held that once the allotment is done, then your allottee and relief can be granted. Now the burning issue right now is whether the member of the cooperative housing society or tenant of a landlord are they allottee or they are the equity holder. Because what happens in case of a redevelopment of a society, the member of the society, they come together, they pass a resolution with some specific requisition and they move the drive of the redevelopment, they appoint the developer and so on. So in many of the RERA judgment, at authority level, it has been established that a member of the society and the tenant of the landlord, because tenant approval is also required for redevelopment. So they are nothing but equity holder, and they are also promoter. So RERA will not have a jurisdiction over promoter to promoter. For example, if there is a partnership firm and there are dispute between two partners, then RERA will not have jurisdiction. It's only have jurisdiction only if cause of action for various reliefs are there. Then only they will have the jurisdiction. So here again, this is right now a burning issue. But if we look at the consumer forum, the tenants are treated as a consumer. Because why? Because it has been held that whenever a tenant surrender his tenancy right, that itself is a consideration. And under consumer forum, what you require is there should be a consideration, there should be a service receiver and service provider. So then the reliefs are available under consumer forum. So tenant has the relief under consumer forum, but not under RERA. Now this is a burning issue, and we hope that some relief may come for the member of housing society, because as such, housing society are the legal owner of the land and building. Member hold the share certificate, and by virtue of that share certificate, they enjoy the right of occupation and privilege of that flat. So whether member and society are separate, yes, in the eye of law they are separate, but we need to see further what happens here. Now, whenever a landowner gives his land for joint development under area sharing mode, so what happen here? Some 30-40% of the area which are earmarked, flats are also earmarked. Now, if we look at the definition of allottee, means a person to whom the flat is allotted by the promoter. So can we say that landowner character is of two kind? One as a, because now landowner is a promoter, because he is a landowner. So by virtue of definition of promoter, he is a promoter. So can we say that landowner in this particular context is a promoter also and allottee also? But then at present it has been held that landowner cannot be allottee, because if we look at the definition of allottee, it says transfer or allotment by promoter to other person. So this other person, landowner is not that other person, so that relief is not available. However, if landowner sells that flat to somebody else, then he becomes the allottee. That is the law. Now, part occupancy versus possession. Now, in some of the cases, this aspect has been challenged. Say, for example, the building is of 20 stories and the date of possession was, say, 31st December 20. Now, builder bring in the part occupancy for, say, up to 10th floor, and he gives the possession to all the person residing up to 10th floor. Now, one of the person he challenged, he does not accept that possession, because he says, I have not only purchased the flat, but I am also entitled to various amenities. Say, for example, car parking, swimming pool, clubhouse, common area, and all these things. So it has been held in one judgment, Bhavna Dubey versus Swift Reality, under RERA tribunal. This part occupancy cannot be a lawful possession, even amenities, because in one case, the flat was purchased with 4 big size parking, which can park car like Mercedes. So then builder offered him the possession only with part occupancy. The parking was not offered. So there also RERA tribunal has held that this is not a lawful possession and the default continues. Now, association of allottee. As I said, aggrieved person can be allottee. Now, what do you mean by association of allottee? In common parlance, we understand this as a society. These are commonly used in Maharashtra. There are other mode also of association of allottee. Say, for example, Section 8 company under New Company Act, or condominium of the apartment under Apartment Ownership Act 1970. So these are the 3 mode of the association of allottee. And the rule under MAHA-RERA is that even during the construction phase, if more than 51% apartment are booked, then developer has to start the process of formation of association of allottee. But many developer has failed to do that because the project are stalled and all that issues are there. So now this association of allottee, they themselves can form one association, either as an association of person, or they can get registered themselves with Society Registration Act 1860 and then with Charity Commissioner. So then they can file a complaint for revocation of project. Now the relief sought by the allotee and association of allotee would be different. Here the common factor would be looked into, like revocation of projects, structural defect, non-conveyance of the property, and so on. So association of allotee can also file the complaint. I have already discussed the Amrapali group. Yeah. When the RERA was introduced in May 17, the exemption was given to all the project who has brought the completion certificate on 30th April 2017. And there are some other exemptions are also provided. And one of the condition was that if the plot area is less than 500 square meter, or the number of apartment to be developed are less than 8, then there is no need for registration. So then the FAQ was issued by MHARERA, wherein one query was raised. Say for example, plot area is 400 square meter and number of apartment to be developed are 15, because in Mumbai we have vertical development. So number of apartment are 15. So whether registration is required, then FAQ says yes, registration is required. But in the matter of Gitanjali Aman Construction versus Rishikesh Paranjpe RERA Tribunal, this was a 3-member joint bench judgment. The matter was discussed elaborately. So the exemption conditions were worded in a negative manner, like the following would be excluded from registration. It says that area of the plot less than 500 square meter, or number of apartment to be developed less than 8. So this condition was or. So if one can satisfy either of the condition, then registration is not required. Now this tribunal judgment, there were difference of opinion amongst 3 members. One member who was a judicial person, he said that no, the RERA registration is required, and the other 2 member, one judicial and one non-judicial, they concluded no RERA registration, and since the majority wins, right now the law is no registration is required for the project in such a scenario. However, for the sake of convenience, promoter are getting themselves registered with the RERA authority, because whenever agreement for sale are now placed before the sub registrar for registration, they require either occupation certificate or RERA registration number. So every time you have to explain. Again, the lender, housing loan finance, again they also generally ask for the RERA registration number. So promoter generally they go for the RERA, but this is the law. If the area is less than 500 or number of, so this any of the condition if one can satisfy, then they are out of purview of RERA. Now secured creditor, while registering the project or even thereafter also, whenever the project finance are taken on the land or on the receivable, so encumbrance certificate has to be uploaded, and there are provisions for encumbrance certificate. So this secured creditors, they are governed by SARFAESI Act. Again, like RERA, SARFAESI is also a special law. So when the question of security of creditor comes, secured creditor, that law will prevail and not the RERA law, because RERA law will only look after the development of project. It cannot go beyond development of project. And whenever there are other special law, then it will be governed by that law. For say, for example, insolvency proceeding. Now these are the current burning issue. Say, for example, in one corporate entity, there are say 10, 15 projects, and there is a insolvency proceeding going on. There are secured creditor also. Now, can one project, where can association of allotee approach the High Court or Supreme Court and say that we want to complete this project and carve out this, let this project be carved out from this insolvency proceeding? Again, this issue needs to be discussed or elaborated. Right now, these are the burning issue. There are nearly 5,000 stalled projects in Maharashtra. These are the stalled projects which have crossed their deadline. They have not filed the requisite forms. And out of that 5,000 projects, complaints are going on for 200 projects. And out of that 200, many are with insolvency proceeding. There are secured creditors. So in the time to come, we will be able to know what happens. Now, this is a very good protection to the allotee. see under RERA, now this is a change scenario. This is a beautiful section given by the RERA. It says that whenever there is a change of hand amongst the promoter, say more than 51%, then in that case, consent of 2/3 of the allottee is required and consent of the authority is required. Prior to even executing development agreement or purchase agreement or whatever, this is required. This is a mandatory. So even transfer would be incomplete in terms of it is not fulfilled. So here the one of the privilege available to the allottee is that whenever there is a change of hand, then the obligation of all the pending obligation of the old promoter will become the obligation of the new promoter. Now prior to RERA, this was not the case. There was one suit was filed in case of Vaidehi Akash in Mumbai High Court, Vaidehi Akash versus DN Nagar Cooperative Society. So here the scenario was that DN Nagar Cooperative Society has initially given a development agreement to old promoter, and then he could not complete the project. There were some financial and other default. So then they appointed a new promoter. This was the scenario prior to RERA. This case was filed in 2014 before Mumbai High Court. Then all the allottee approached the Mumbai High Court. When they were before the new developer told them, I do not have any privity of contract with you, so I should not be asked upon to repay your money or even to allot you the apartment. So then the suit was filed before Mumbai High Court, and Mumbai High Court has held in this case, okay, there is no privity of contract between allottee and the new developer. So allottee will have all the right against the old developer and not with the new developer. This was the scenario prior to RERA. Now after RERA, certainly scenario has changed, and this is a welcome regulation by RERA. I have already discussed the constitution of the tribunal bench. Express waiver, yeah. In one of the case, Rekha Sinha matter in tribunal, this was again a single bench judgment, and which was challenged in Mumbai High Court. Mumbai High Court has now remanded back matter to the tribunal for fresh hearing under a joint bench. Now, what are the facts of the case? That the possession was taken by the allottee. There was a delay in possession, but still allottee has taken the possession, and thereafter he has filed a complaint for interest for delay. So at authority level, his claim was declined. They said, okay, now you have already taken the possession. So on the date of taking possession, you should have raised this issue. So your claim is not sustainable. When the matter traveled to tribunal under single bench judgment, what tribunal observed that there is no express waiver by the allottee to the promoter. He has just taken the possession. But then again, this judgment is likely to be challenged further in High Court. At present, this has been remanded back to the joint bench. Yeah, sale of parking space. Now, this is a confused state. So, under MOFA, a developer was not entitled to sell open parking as well as covered parking. That was not allowed. Under RERA, they have provided the definition of covered parking, and there are two thoughts. One is that under RERA, developer can sell the covered parking. Now, covered parking has various phenomena like steel parking or zigzag parking and all that thing. So, developer can sell the parking space. Now, what do you mean by sale? I mean, developer can collect separately consideration for parking, and that has been provided under model agreement, which was given by MHARERA. So, that model agreement talks of three consideration part. One is consideration for the flat, second is consideration for the common areas, and third is consideration for the parking space. So by virtue of this consideration for parking space, there is a dilemma whether a developer can sell the covered parking also, because open parking cannot be sold under RERA also. Now prior to RERA, there is one Supreme Court judgment in the matter of Nahalchand Laluchand versus Panchali Society. Now this judgment was in the context of MOFA. So there the developer has sold the covered parking. So there the Supreme Court has observed that this covered parking are the requirement of DC regulation. So FSI is also flowing because of provision of car parking. If the car parking is less, FSI would be less. So this is already inbuilt in the FSI. So developer is not entitled to sell car parking under MOFA by virtue of that Supreme Court judgment. Now, whether that Supreme Court judgment still hold goods for RERA, that is a big question mark. It is not yet tested. My view is like what we advise to our client is, you don't charge separately for the parking. Let it be inbuilt in your consideration only. You can allot covered parking because DC regulation also says for 3 BHK, these are the number of parking. For 2 BHK, these are the number of parking. So one can definitely allot or earmark. But selling of a closed parking area is again a debatable issue, and we need to look upon for the further development. Now, when the first appeal is to be preferred by promoter, say for example, at authority level, there is a direction, okay, the allotee should be refunded 1 crore of rupees with interest and compensation. So all put together comes to 1 crore 50 lakhs. So when the promoter file a complaint in a tribunal, so there is a prerequisite of deposit of certain sum of money. So without that, his appeal cannot be entertained or heard. So there are various cases wherein the promoter have failed to deposit this amount, and the appeal has been dismissed by the tribunal. So now here the issue is, if say for example, allotee has claimed a compensation at authority, and this complaint is handled by member and not by adjudication officer, and now the promoter is in appeal before the tribunal. So now promoter argues that this order itself on the very face of it is not valid or is a void ab initio. So this 43(5) should not be looked upon in this case. So one is whether this 43(5) is a directory or mandatory. So at many tribunal judgment, it has been held that it is a mandatory, and High Court has also affirmed that, saying that we don't want to interfere in this. So the range is nearly 30 to 50% of the total amount. So then in one of the matter which I am handling, the opponent advocate for the developer, there is one Punjab Haryana tribunal judgment on the very same issue. When the order itself is a void ab initio, means looking at the face of the order, one can say that his order is not valid. Then this condition should not be stressed upon. This is what Punjab and Haryana RERA tribunal has established. When the matter was argued before the Mumbai tribunal, they said that as a judicial hierarchy, we are not bound by the Punjab and Haryana RERA tribunal, but this can be used as a guideline. But still the matter is pending and we are waiting for the order. But right now, this is a mandatory condition, and one has to deposit a certain sum of money. Friends, real estate sector has been suffering a lot. Now with this COVID outbreak also, corona outbreak also, there has been apprehension that the project would get delayed. There are so many stalled projects. There are unsold inventory also. So government, it is expected that government should bring some special package for real estate industry because it is the second largest contributor to GDP and employment. So one cannot overlook the real estate industry, and there are demand for exemption of stamp duty, say for 1 year or 2 year, no GST on real estate, and so on, reduction in the housing loan interest for the home buyers. So right now the purchasing power of the people has been affected very adversely, and the situation is very dark. And if this sector is not boosted, like there is a negligence for agriculture sector also, and if the government of India wants to come back out of this corona outbreak, then naturally some policy decision has to be taken by the government for boosting the real estate as well as agriculture sector, because mass of the population depends on these two sectors for their livelihood. And India is a home hunger country. There are demand for home, but now the packet size has undergone a change. Okay, thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. We'll now take the question answers, sir.
Yeah, yeah.
So there are few hands raised. So Paras suggested that we first take a few of them, and then we'll go to the question and answers which have come. So Paras, you can just take a few hands, and then we'll go to
So
the.
we would allow a few people to speak who have also, I've seen that, they have raised the hands and also have asked the questions, and there are multiple questions from few people, in fact. So I would rather allow them to speak so that they can directly pose the questions.
Yeah. So
It would
so
be
their
filling.
questions then we'll not take.
Yes, yes. Okay. I'll allow Mr. Harish Gagwani to speak first. Uh, Hello, Mr. Harish. Your mic is on mute. Can you please unmute and ask the questions that you are having? Mr. Harish?
I think Paras, you can go with the chat section.
Okay, then I rather do that then.
Yeah.
Um,
Hello.
Yeah, it's come.
Yeah,
I
your one.
yes, Harish.
Can you hear me?
Yeah,
Yes.
Yeah. Now my question, couple of questions. One is that if I file against a developer, complaint against the developer,
okay.
not against the landowner, considering only he is the promoter uh, of the project. Now I came to know he has got development agreement, and there is a landowner also involved in that, and there is a another service provider also involved as a consultant, marketing consultant too.
Okay, development manager. Yeah.
Not as a development, kind of a development manager.
Development manager like Larsen and Toubro and all. Yeah.
Manager also to the developer. Then can I rope in these two parties as well during the course of proceeding?
Now you have purchased from landowner or a developer?
I have purchased from the developer. But
So,
having said that, there is a marketing party or rather service provider as a development manager was involved, as well as point is that I was not
okay, then what is the cause of action? What is hurting you?
delay of the project. He has not yet started the project, and he has though building was at that point of time, according to the approvals, it was only 4 year period. Now it is when he had put in RERA registration as 2029, and I have purchased in 2030. So
So you are holding agreement for sale with a date of possession.
I have allotment letter, and he, the developer is not willing to execute the. I have already filed the case in RERA, and
No. Now the allotment letter, does it mention possession date?
no, he hasn't mentioned.
So now there is one Supreme Court judgment which I'll give that judgment later on. It says that you can't have a blanket date
Right.
for unlimited period. There has to be some reasonableness. So in that case, it was held that 3 years was a reasonableness. So depending upon the structure of building and the number of floors, one can come to reasonable period. So then in your case, you can stay that point for delay in possession, because you will have to first identify the delay.
No, delay has been identified because I have purchased in 13. We are now in 2020, and he is yet to start the project. He has got approval, but
No, no. See, if suppose your building is say of 100-story, then even 7-8 years could be a reasonable period. So the fact that project is not started is not a cause of action. Then it becomes a premature complaint. So first you will have to establish delay with that reasonable this thing that you can do with the help of some engineer who can give a certificate. How much is the reasonable time to complete this project? Engineer or architect. And you can attach this certificate with your complaint.
no, right, because there are 2, 3 phases, and all of those have been started. Here also, he started with the foundation. He has not even completed foundation. He is just trying to come up to the plinth level. This is
Okay.
how, and he has basically in RERA, his declaration is that he will complete the project in 2029. So he is going to take about 16, 18 years to complete the project.
Right. So that's why I'm telling. That's why you need to first identify and fix the date of possession,
Okay.
because your cause of action will start from that date only, na? On the date of filing complaint, you should be an aggrieved person. For aggrieved person, there has to be a cause of action. So first you have to identify that what could be the date of possession, reasonable date. Citing that Supreme Court judgment, you can have a architect or engineer independent certificate. So for such kind of building, say for example, for 20-storied building, it can be 4 years. For 15-storied building, it can be 3 years. Like that.
Yeah, and how do I address the other point wherein I want to, if I have filed a
No, you have made developer as a respondent, na?
yeah. So how can I include developer as well as service provider or
There is no need to include other parties, because the landowner obligation, you very well know, under a development agreement, his obligation is of title only. So if there are any defect in title, you can make him party.
right?
And for service provider also, if there are some defect, then you can make him party. But right now, what looking at your fact, only developer can be respondent.
There is no need to,
There is no need. There is no need.
and there is no action against both of them.
No, no. Because now, under RERA, the development agreement are also uploaded, so all the data are available. So now a consumer is an informed consumer. He knows the obligation of landowner, obligation of developer, obligation of development manager, and so on.
No, no.
So
But
accord-
point here is the development agreement was 5 to 7 years. Within that, he was supposed to complete the project. And
but here there is no default of landowner. That's what I'm telling you.
I agree with you,
So
but
there is
then
no need to make him a party. There is no need to, because if you make him a party, then all your proceeding will increase.
Yeah. Paras, can we take the next query?
Sir, in case there is a long discussion on a topic which seems to be personal in nature, what we can do is, sir, in your
Yeah,
last
general
slide, you can in your last slide you can add your number, and when we are going to share this slide to them, they can contact you in the future
Yeah.
to get their personal answers solved.
thank you.
Okay, thank you. I would now allow Bipul Maiti to talk.
Let's take another. Vishal.
Rather we take question answers. What do you think?
That would be better.
And then, in case everything is answered, then we would. Okay, so then the first question was from Harish. I think so that is solved. The other thing is Vijay Makhija. So would like to know, while booking an apartment before RERA came into existence, if 10% payment is done to the developer and the allotment letter is received, the developer has sent a sale agreement after RERA came in, wherein he has increased the project completion period by 2 years, that is to 2022. Verbally, he had committed earlier for 2020. To which objection was made. But developer says the 10% amount will be forfeited as per the initial booking. Can he do so?
Here the question is whether allotment letter contains the date of possession which was promised. If it is not containing, then there is a issue, because now if you want to execute the agreement, then developer will say this new date should be taken up. There was one judgment at RERA authority wherein the date of possession was not mentioned in allotment letter, but the audio tape was produced wherein the sales team has committed some date of possession. So then taking that as a evidence, it was held that this should be the date of possession. So again, looking at the fact, one has to draw a conclusion.
It's more of producing an evidence to say that earlier he had committed something else and now he is trying to change his position. Okay.
Yes, certainly.
Okay. So now a second question from Rajesh Mundada. Land purchased by 7 persons jointly about 20 years back. Co-owner have completed a plotted layout scheme on the said land and also obtained completion certificate from competent authority. RERA authorities are insisting for seeking registration in spite of completion certificate obtained. Further, in application for registration, there is no provision to apply in individual names, and only option of AOP or VOI is available.
Yes.
But then the question.
If somebody want to register, they can register as association of person also, or they can register as individual, mentioning the first name and others.
But he's saying that there is no provision to apply individual names, but only
So
by
then
AOP or
AOP
VOI.
only that would happen. But there is one recent circular issued by RERA authority in December 2019, wherein they have said that once the land is converted into NA, and if the collector completion certificates are obtained, then RERA registration is not required. This circular is there on the record. December 2019.
Okay. So thereafter, next question: whether MOU between tenants and developer is required to be registered.
This is not the question relating to RERA,
Yeah.
because these are the alternate accommodation agreement. So after relinquishing the tenancy right, some other allotment will be given. But again, the RERA at present does not have jurisdiction over the tenant complaint.
Okay. Okay. Thereafter, can a possession letter be issued even if the sale agreement is not executed? Possession is given to the buyer of the office.
So there is an allotment letter, there is no sale agreement, and possession is given.
Yes. Though it is not clear from the question, but apparently it seems
So
so.
then here the issue of the transfer will come, because under Transfer of Property Act, the registration of a agreement is a must. So subsequent sale would be affected because of this.
Okay. Thereafter, what if the developer doesn't pay the rent to the tenants in SRA project?
See, here again, as I said, the member of the housing society as well as tenant, when the rent is assured to them, so that is not the cause of action for RERA jurisdiction. That is certainly a cause of action for civil jurisdiction, but not the RERA jurisdiction.
Okay.
So RERA will not have this jurisdiction over this.
Okay. Then thereafter, in society redevelopment, whether in society redevelopment wherein a builder decide to sell flat after OC, so with respect to the society members, the project is required to be registered.
See, now here the society member are not the allottee, that has been established. And if the builder does not want to sell till the completion certificate is obtained, then there is no need for RERA registration right now. But the language of section 3 is not very clear. So after completion certificate, if developer want to sell, then again he has to register at that point of time. Because what is exempted is completion certificate received up to 30th April 2017, and another exemption if you don't want to do marketing. But the moment you want to do marketing, then RERA registration is required.
Okay. So thereafter, next question. In most of the cases where builders stop paying interest, and in case of redevelopment, earlier owners of flat go and stay in the rooms which are completed in the project. Is it okay from their end or file complaint to RERA since people are facing financial issues?
Yeah, these are the issues of subvention scheme where developer 80-20 or 90-10 scheme, where 10% is paid by the allottee and 90% is arranged through a financer, and the developer promised to pay interest till the possession, but in between they fail to pay, and then there are tri-party agreement between financer, allottee and the builder, wherein it is mentioned that in case developer fail, allottee is liable. So far as that party agreement is concerned, the allottee is responsible to the financer, but allottee can very well file a complaint against the developer for reimbursement of all this interest with the RERA.
Okay.
because this was agreed by the allotee himself.
Okay. So thereafter, next question is, what can be done to request the tribunal to expedite the final hearing and the orders? In many cases, the tribunal of Maharera has been sitting on the cases for more than 1 year.
Yeah. These are the issue right now. Any complaint which are filed before the authority, it takes almost 9 months to 12 months. These are the average period. Some may be disposed in 3-4 months, but the first hearing itself comes after 4 months. So these are the issue. At tribunal level, since they are the judicial body, they believe in the principle of natural justice, opportunity of hearing. So there are various procedures which they have laid down. And the current experience is that it takes 1 year, 1.5 years to dispose of the matter. In one of my matter, only for 43.5, we had 9 attendants, and there are almost 7 or 8 months have already gone. And still we are awaiting the order for 43.5.
But wouldn't there be an option of interim relief or an interim thing wherein at least whosoever wants to seek protection from any action? So I think so that would be safeguarded, and if it is delayed thereafter, it's okay. Because then we are in the queue.
In many cases, what happened? The flats are ready. OC is also there. Builder is claiming interest for delayed payment from the allotee, and builder has withheld the possession. So now, when the matter goes to tribunal, one can file a miscellaneous application before tribunal, saying that they first give me the possession, and now the matter of interest will be decided by the tribunal, and it will be binding on both the party. So there are some judgment wherein the possession is given subject to payment, whatever payment is due. Say for example, society charges and all these are pending, or some principal is outstanding. Then tribunal has said that first you pay this payment, you take the possession, then your question of interest we will decide later on. So this kind of urgent matter can be taken off by way of a miscellaneous application.
Okay. The next question is, sir, if a company has received a part occupancy certificate and the construction work is completed and all expenses have been incurred, whether the promoter can withdraw the amount from the RERA account?
See, for the provision of RERA account, the full occupancy certificate or full completion certificate has to be received. Till such time, the requirement of deposit of 70% is there. Now, as regards the withdrawal, he can withdraw up to the cost incurred, not beyond that. So, 30% is as such free. And still out of that 70, say 20% is his profit margin. Then that he cannot withdraw till the completion certificate, full completion certificate. However, there is a provision for making a fixed deposit, but he cannot make a lien on that.
So they are saying that further, the full OC is not received due to some technical issue in SRA.
Again, these are the issues which cannot be. You can certainly go to authority and explain all these things. Authority may, but right now there are no such instances. But authority may grant you permission to withdraw subject to filing of indemnity or whatever.
Okay. So thereafter, after receipt of OC and uploading the form 4, then after then updation of form 5 are to be done or not till society formation.
See, I'll explain in this manner. For example, OC is received in February 2020. And Form 4 is also uploaded in, say, March 2020. So for the financial year 1920, now Form 5, the intention of Form 5 is very focused intention, that is to protect the diversion of funds. So once the project is complete in all respect, then there is no question of looking at the diversion of funds. So in my view, Form 5 is not required in such a scenario. But if the OC is received in, say, April, and Form 4 is also uploaded in April, then in that case, to be on safer side, it is better to upload Form 5 for financial year 1920.
Okay. Thereafter, the next question is whether landowner will also be required to get registered under joint development agreement.
Yes, landowner are the promoter. Initially, they were termed as a co-promoter, but then this matter was challenged before Mumbai High Court, and then the authority has withdrawn the earlier circular saying that they are co-promoter. Now they say they are promoter only. They are landowner promoter and there is one developer promoter. So landowner are promoter.
Okay.
So many times what happens, landowner do not cooperate, and this has happened in many cases. So there, the promoter can, in his declaration, he can state all this fact. Okay, there is a landowner, but he is not cooperating. Once
Okay.
he cooperate, we'll provide all the details. So he can do the registration on his own.
Okay. Okay. The next question is, three plots are amalgamated by developers, out of which one plot is purchased and other two are in joint venture. A project as such is one,
Okay.
and the identity of respective plot is no longer there. How to register under RERA if applying in phases?
No, no. See, again, if you are even after application of this, that identity is getting lost, right? This is the question. Like there is a
I
plot A, plot B, plot C. So
Yes.
are we looking at plot A development only right now, or we are looking of mixture of that?
The question is not clear on that,
Ah,
but I think so.
so
Assuming that could be a situation.
if it is a mixture, then all will be the promoter, because you are amalgamating a plot, and in say phase one, the landowner may not get any area sharing, but still
Okay.
they will be promoter.
Okay. What is the responsibility of brokers under RERA? Even they don't come in picture since money is paid directly to the builders.
See, responsibility of broker is very clear. They are assigned the role of marketing, so they should not do any hanky panky with the marketing, any non-disclosure, whatever information transparency that they have to maintain. So if they maintain all these things, so once the money are paid by the allottee to the developer, and then the project is incomplete, then agent cannot be called upon.
Okay. So basically, he has to do true and fair disclosure, kind of.
Yes.
Okay. In a case of so next question. In a case of revenue sharing JDA, how much money can be taken away by the landowner's cost of land or ASR value of land on the date of execution date of JDA?
See, now there are issues for land whenever there is a joint development, whether area sharing or revenue sharing. So here form 3, whether form 3 what we are registering is the project and not the promoter. The registration is qua project, not the qua promoter. So form 3 should be, there should be 3 form 3. One is of the developer promoter, second is of the landowner promoter, and third is a consolidated.
Okay.
Similarly, form 5 also. So this consolidated form 3 will decide the overall withdrawal. Now, inter se there could be some adjustment.
But that has to be reflected at the first go itself.
See, while registering the project, I have to give the details of cost, estimated cost of the project, and cost incurred. So there I have to give the details of consolidated only.
Right. Okay.
I may upload landowner form 3, even developer form 3, and consolidate. All these form 3 may be uploaded, no issue. But overall withdrawal limit would be governed by the consolidated form. There could be inter se axis withdrawal, but overall should be within that limit.
Okay.
So now, for example, for landowner form 3, the land value, land cost should be the date of registration of project, that is ASR value, plus other cost incurred, if any.
Okay.
So he will be entitled to withdraw up to that amount only, and balance he has to kept in FD, even for revenue sharing.
Okay. Thereafter, the next question is, covered car parking can temporary shed approved as closed car park by local authorities called upon as open parking or closed parking?
Now, these are the question for DC regulator, because whenever the plans are approved, the things are very clear. How much is the open parking and how much is the closed parking?
You're right.
So when we go for amendment in plan, then at that point of time, if some changes happen because of reduction of number of floor or like that, then this issue will come up.
I'll take the next question. If there is any existing project comprising of 5 full floors which is registered under RERA, and now the promoter has applied for the extension of one more tower in the same project and also extension of 3 more floors in the existing tower, will this amount to new project or extension of existing project?
As regards the separate building, it will be certainly a new project. As regards the extension of floor, this can also be a new project, but the only issue will come is obtaining the consent of that particular building from all the allottee. Because section 14
You're right.
is very clear. It says if you are changing any common area also, then consent is required. So there that issue will come. So while giving the possession to the allottee up to 5th floor, he should take the consent.
There are
Yes.
requests and asking you to share your mobile and contact numbers. I think so. If you can amend your last slide to include
Yeah.
your name and contact numbers. Yeah.
Alright.
What is the time limit for filing complaint under RERA? And if not filed within the time limit, can the delay be condoned?
Yeah, there are many cases where condonation has been given for even 600 days or 400 days also. You have to give your justification, because there are some Supreme Court judgment in other law also. Okay, a person should not be deprived of his right. So what worst can happen after hearing the complaint or appeal, he may not get the relief, but at least he should be heard. So if there are some genuine reason, then condonation is available, subject to levy of some cost.
Okay. Okay. Rahul, you were saying something.
I was saying you want to take one question, like you must be tired, so
Yeah, you can take it. In fact,
that will be faster also. If you can take one.
Yeah, no issue, no issue.
one. Rahul, can you just scroll and just see if, because there are too many queries.
I'm
some
trying
are-
to eliminate the duplicate queries. So there is one query that I am developing 2 different buildings under SRA approval.
Okay,
One separate building for rehab and another for sale.
okay,
I've registered the sale building under RERA and not the rehab building.
okay.
I wish to sell some area to one of the slum dweller. His unit will have the area as per Annexure 2 plus the purchased area. Does he have to register the rehab building as separate RERA project if he is selling it to the one of the slum dwellers only in the RERA
But
project?
there is a change of hand, you mean to say.
Yes.
This is a case of a change of hand, which will be governed by section 15. So you will have to take the approval of the 2/3 of the new allottee, sale building, and authority also.
Sir, what are the consequences of non-filing of Form 4 if the project is already ready within the time, but form has remained to be filed?
So you mean to say occupancy certificate has been received, but
Yes.
Form 4 is not filed.
Correct.
So this is a technical lapse. So generally they will send you a query by mail or by telephone whether Form 4 is there, and they will request you to file the Form 4 within some time. Otherwise, they will then call for you for the hearing, and they may levy penalty if Form 4 is not filed, because that is a default. And generally, this penalty are 2 lakh, 5 lakh, depending upon the magnitude of the project.
Sir, if the agreement has an arbitration clause and it's a RERA registered project, so can one opt for the arbitration proceedings?
Now it all depends who is filing the complaint before RERA. Suppose allottee is filing, then he will not be interested in filing arbitration proceeding. He will go to RERA. If the promoter want to file complaint, he can go to arbitration. So both the options are open, because for allottee cause of action is there, so RERA will prevail. There has been one case, the promoter argued that this agreement is subject to arbitration. So RERA will have jurisdiction only after means there it was mentioned. This was a MOFA agreement where it was mentioned that if any dispute arises, the matter will be referred to arbitration. So then promoter said that RERA does not have jurisdiction because arbitration is a special act, and there is a mention if in case of dispute, the matter will go to the arbitration. So it cannot come to RERA. But then looking at Nilkamal Realtor, RERA authority has concluded that NOAA will have jurisdiction even though there is an arbitration clause. Because this is a law to protect the interest of allottee. But once the matter is before arbitration, then it cannot come to RERA because the forum shopping is not allowed.
Okay.
Either it can be with a consumer forum or civil court or RERA. At one time, there cannot be three, you cannot take benefit of three mechanisms.
Sir, in case of the interest on delay, whether the question is that if where the builder is liable to pay the interest, whether he will also be liable to pay for the period of booking prior to RERA coming into effect.
So this I have already discussed.
Yes.
There are some contradictory judgment. Recently, one tribunal judgment is there wherein they have allowed even interest for delayed prior to 1st May 17. The logic is that under MOFA there was no such provision. So when two persons have made a contract and that provision itself is not there, then how can that be enforced? But there are contradictory judgment. But the larger view is that even the High Court will also say the similar thing. When while executing the contract itself, this provision was not there. So how can that be allowed? So after RERA, it should be allowed.
Sir, another question is, can in case of forums, can the allottees go both under RERA as well as the IBC code?
See, who is filing the complaint? That is important. If a person is going individually in IBC or individually in consumer forum, then individually he cannot go to RERA. But as a association and individual, these are two different entities. So if the relief sought are different, then complaint is maintainable.
No, means
if
as an individual, he may go to RERA,
Huh.
and the eligibility of IBC is compliant by the because there may be too many aggrieved people in the same building.
IBC is a special law. It looks after all the insolvency proceeding. So once the matter is before IBC, then RERA will not hear that case. They will keep the proceeding in abeyance till the conclusion of IBC proceeding. It cannot go simultaneously because there, after that moratorium period of 180 days, no
Yes.
complaint. So when the matter is before IBC, RERA proceeding will be in abeyance, or they just dismiss it off with saying that you can come back again once the IBC is over.
Sir, another very relevant question is that will the promoters get the benefit of COVID-19 under the clause force majeure of the RERA?
Certainly. COVID-19 is a force majeure. So now the period will depend upon the fact of now how it is going to affect. Say, for example, it may affect for up to December or March 21. So depending upon that, as of now, they have already issued one circular. Even High Court has also issued a circular saying that up to June, this is a force majeure, but it can be extended. Certainly, it will be extended. And there is a demand by the developer community for 1 year. Even Gujarat RERA has waived all the filing fees and all these things for this force majeure period because of COVID.
So we have covered a lot of questions and now we have exceeded the time limit also.
Okay.
So, sir, is it okay if we'll end the session now?
Yeah, sure.